Unless we invest in infrastructure to declog our economies, we're not going to, this whole hope of the continent of Africa, we're not going to realize. So I agree fully, we have to invest in infrastructure.
Sure.
And what we've decided to do is transportation infrastructure is critical. We've therefore set up quite a sizable fund. It's in rands. We have about 1.2 billion rands dedicated to buying rolling stock, which is trains, and leasing it to operators on the continent. That gives them a financing option in terms of securing rolling stock, trading, declogging economies, and achieving economic development.
Yeah. How difficult is it for you to be able to raise those kind of amounts when you go out and you sell the Africa story and you say, come in, let's partner together and let's try and see if we can raise some money for the continent?
Yeah. What was challenging was us kind of structuring and raising the equity portion, right, which we now have done, very excitingly. Okay. It's quite a sizable amount of money. We have line of sight to additional capital, which constitutes equity, and we can leverage that. And we've got a lot of interest from now from sort of international financiers who want to come in on the debt side on top of that.
Yeah, so it's now easier to raise funds when you talk about Africa and the African opportunity.
There's an exciting confidence for the continent right now, really exciting confidence. But I think what people are looking for is trusted relationships on the ground, credible, trusted relationships that have a plan, that have a strategy, that have identified a sector, and a sector that looks viable. But there's a huge excitement for the continent.
Where have you seen take up for the projects that you're looking at?
Look, we're talking to a number of countries. Look, rail. If you look at the continent, the map of the continent, and you look at the rail infrastructure, it's not equally spread throughout. Southern Africa has a big, Southern and Eastern Africa has a big presence of the rail network. So that's very exciting for us. Those markets we're looking at, we're talking to rail operators, we're talking to concessionaires, and we're talking to freight owners, because in some places, the freight owner actually leases the rolling stock, and then they go into some agreement with the national operator to haul the product.
Yeah. Now, of course, you sit on various other platforms as well. You advise the Nigerian government. You're a member of the advisory council for Nigerian government, including with President Goodluck Jonathan. You also sit on the board of Afreximbank. Give us a sense of the projects that you're working on there and what you're telling the President of Nigeria particularly.
Look, Nigeria is a market I am personally really excited about. I'm excited about the country Nigeria. I'm excited about ECOWAS, the region. I think it's a country of great potential and a region of even really immense potential. And I think for us it's interesting. Being South African, it's very interesting. It's important. I think it's important that we have other regions and other countries gaining momentum in the development space and gaining attention globally. Nigeria I'm excited about because of the plans that Nigeria has. Some of the things that the country is doing, even from an infrastructure point of view, deregulation, bringing in the private sector. I believe that country is going to perform miracles.
Is the president listening?
The president is an unbelievable listener. I think the government of Nigeria listens, and a lot of times when we sit in that committee, I've been very surprised to come back, and the starting point is reflection on this is what we discussed the last time, this is what we've done about that, and these are the challenges, how do we deal with them? They listen, I have to say.
Are there any areas where you're finding African governments still perhaps a little bit slow in terms of trying to ensure that they avail business people of the opportunities that we're seeing across the continent?
Yeah, I think the reality of it is it's going to be very difficult for African governments to do the development objective on their own as government.
Agreed.
I think they have to realize that, not all private sector is malicious. There's a contribution to be made, international and domestic. I think we have to focus on domestic private sector, domestic entrepreneurs. I think we have to have the courage as Africans to say Africans can do it. And there's many examples of real African entrepreneurs doing really great things and reinvesting in the continent. It's a really exciting time. People no longer put money outside, they put it in the continent.
It sounds to me like you're saying here a trust issue needs to be resolved and governments need to accept that the private sector can be a serious partner and an amicable partner in the development.
And I think it's happening. It's happening. It could happen faster, but it's happening. It's a great, for young Africans like myself, it's an incredible time of hope, excitement, enthusiasm. I always used to, when I was younger, I wished I was older to have participated in the liberation and things like that. But now we have a whole liberation where we can change our people's lives, not only deliver freedom and democracy, but change and deliver jobs and sustainable livelihoods for Africa.